Welcome back to the Tip of the Ice-Burgh podcast, brought to you as always by the Hockey Podcast Network as well as DraftKings. Make sure you visit DraftKings Sportsbook now and use promo code THPN to get your opportunity on some great prizes at sign up. So we have our shout outs and call outs. It's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, 1 week after the NHL season has concluded. Horwat, I know we both have something to say on the Nikita Kucherov situation. And before we get into the Nikita Kucherov situation, I do have the video of it here for any of those who haven't seen it. So here is Nikita Kucherov immediately following the Game 5 victory for the Tampa Bay Lightning in his post-game press conference. This video comes via Brady Tretenero on Twitter.
We have Nikita Kucherov. Media, please raise your hand if you have a question. We'll start with Joe Smith, The Athletic.
Joe, let's hear it.
How would you describe your congratulations? How would you describe your emotions right now after doing what you guys did?
I don't know what to say. Back to back, and I couldn't sleep for 3 nights. And to be able to win this game is huge. Wesley was outstanding. MVP. I was telling him every day, Wesley, you're MVP. You're the best player. And then they gave it to whatever the guy in Vegas, the Vezina. And then last year they gave Vezina to somebody else. Number one bull. Wesley took both cups. He took MVP, and I was keep telling him he's MVP. He's the guy that he's the best. He was on his head today, and he kept us in the game. And another shout out by him, remarkable. Can't even tell more. I'm so happy. I didn't want to go back to Montreal, but the fans in Montreal, come on. They acted like they won the Stanley Cup last game. Are you kidding me?
John Romano, Tampa Bay Times.
Their final was last series. Okay.
So that was Nikita Kucherov, a shirtless Nikita Kucherov pounding down Bud Light at the press conference. In accordance with that is where my call out lies for this week. I'm not calling out Nikita Kucherov. I'm calling out the negativity towards Nikita Kucherov and that post-game press conference, because this is, come on, this is what the NHL needs. They need heels. They need more personality from their players. What did you really expect? They just won the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup. Clearly, he's gonna be completely plastered. And then you have him go up there and do a post-game press conference. Did you really expect him to be able to keep his composure? I personally loved this. So my call out goes to anybody who's against it. And from your reaction, I think that's you.
So I'm indifferent on the whole situation. I'm just going to call him out for a couple reasons, and I'll get to him. I will start off by saying I understand where he's coming from with all of this. I do. If you're going to show up to your press conference drunk, show up shirtless, fine. That's fine. I do not care. I get you're excited. I get you're hammered in the matter of 20 seconds. I get that you were excited. You couldn't sleep for 3 nights for the buildup of this game. I get you're excited for all of that. It's where it takes it back for me is just the amount of shit talking he did. And I get that's probably what you were enjoying about this. It's fun that he was going after the prodigal son, Marc-Andre Fleury. It's fun that he was going after the Montreal Canadiens fans. It's my thought on it is your team. Now I get they just won back-to-back cups. He won an MVP, and Vasilevsky won the Vezina in a year where they broke records in the regular season, but then absolutely got embarrassed that following postseason. Mm-hmm. Tell it like it is. If that sort of voting was done before, during, or after the playoffs, they're not winning those awards. They're not. It's the way it is. Yes, Vasilevsky was the best goalie in the playoffs this year. He won the Conn Smythe. That's good. Good for him. I'm not in any way, shape, or form taking away from the accomplishment these guys did. They won back-to-back cups in the salary cap era. Let me get to the salary cap thing. But for Kucherov to come out and start, talking his shit on Fleury because Fleury won a Vezina, who you should be worried about winning the Stanley Cup, which you did. Again, congratulations. Why does the Vezina have to get pulled back into this conversation? Why? That's not the trophy you just won. That's not the trophy your teammate just won. Answer your questions about this upcoming playoffs. Your teammate just won the Conn Smythe. Tell him that was good on him. Is it just a quick, hey, it's disappointing he lost the Vezina, but hey, he won the Conn Smythe, and that's kind of what we're here for. Mm-hmm. Going out to the Canadiens fans, my guy, it's the first time a Canadian team has been in the Cup Final in so long, and it's the first time they've had a chance to see it in Montreal alone in ages. Let them have their fun, man. It's been a long time for them. But again, like I said, showing up shirtless, showing up drunk, sure, do your thing. I get it. I wonder how many players do that, or every year. It's whatever. It's just where the shit talking comes in, especially when, let's be honest, you were the one that kind of started not you were the one that started the controversy, but it was your name tagged to the controversy of the salary cap situation. Again, what the Lightning did was legal, and I'm not saying what they did was wrong. Hell, I think more teams should start doing this now so the NHL can kind of wise up to things. But since it was your name plastered on all of the headlines, Kucherov puts them over the salary cap. Maybe don't start the shit. Maybe let it be someone else. Pat Maroon would have been a hell of a face to do that. You would have understood him a little more too. So I'm just calling out the shit talking you did. I'm, not taking away from what he did, because what he did was incredible. He won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Him and his team, did something not too many teams can do. And I understand he was excited, and I understand that it's a fun time. You might lose your mind a little bit. You just got to choose the words carefully, and I'll defend Fleury until the day I die.
I understand defending Fleury. I will defend Fleury in most instances. And listen, do I think Fleury deserved the Vezina? Yes, I do,
Yes.
in my opinion. All Kucherov is saying is, in his opinion, Andrei Vasilevsky deserved the Vezina in both of the past 2 seasons. He said he was the MVP all year. That's what he said. So if he's going to trash talk, go ahead and trash talk. Listen, he'll answer the bell when he goes to Montreal next season. He will, because somebody's going to remember that. Somebody is going to remember that. But I don't think he gives a damn. And that's fine. Trash talk. That's what the NHL needs. More personality out of these stars.
That's fair.
Nikita Kucherov never says anything. So the fact that he came out and did all this, I loved it. I honestly, sure, you can call it cocky, but the dude is one of the best players in the NHL. The dude has won back-to-back Stanley Cups. He's talking about a guy that has won back-to-back Stanley Cups as a goaltender. And listen, Andrei Vasilevsky was also great during the regular season. Both of these past 2 seasons. He's probably the best goaltender in the league, all-encompassing right now.
Right. And I'm in agreement with you. I think because you're right, Kucherov doesn't say much. One of the points I was thinking of making was like hockey players, don't really do this sort of thing that often. They don't. They're not. I'm sure Kucherov may have looked back at that and thought, what the hell was I thinking and doing? Clearly not, clearly not there. Clearly inebriated. Like, that's the way it is. I'm sure there were some thoughts of maybe I shouldn't have, but hey, it's happened. But again, it's also not my harshest call out. Again, I don't care that much. I mean, it's not my team up there. He's not bashing anyone from Pittsburgh. He's not bashing anyone from, the Penguins team or organization. Fleury, yeah, but it wasn't even so much bashing. It was as much as it was saying Vasilevsky should have won. Sure, the guy from Vegas? Isn't that what he called him? Yeah, that's a little uncalled for, but
I mean, he doesn't know who he is. You don't need to be an expert on the NHL to play in the NHL, man.
Right, but if you're upset that someone else won an award, you should probably know who won the award. There's that.
I mean, he's a hockey player. I don't think he gives a damn. I really don't. I think he was drunk and he said, you know what, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and people are going to deal with it, and then I'll come back next year and be like the great Nikita Kucherov once again.
As long as he's not sitting on the IR, correct.
Well, unless you have any other words on this subject, let's move over to our shout-outs, because my shout-out also goes to a player from the Tampa Bay Lightning. It goes to Alex Killorn. The dude was trying to come back and play, if necessary, in games 6 and 7 after suffering a broken fibula earlier in the series. He had surgery last week, placing a rod in his leg, and he still, up until the day and the time that they won the Stanley Cup, was planning on attempting to play in game 6 and 7. Obviously, that's very hockey player culture that, yeah, I want to come back and play. Yeah, injuries can wait till the end of the season. Obviously, he needed the surgery, considering he probably couldn't stand on a broken fibula, and then still trying to come back and play. Obviously, everybody loves Alex Killorn. He has great interviews on Spittin' Chicklets. He was the life of the party last year during the Stanley Cup boat parade on his jet ski. Some awesome pictures there. But he was also a really good player for the Tampa Bay Lightning this postseason. 17 points in 19 games. The guy is now a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. You saw him out there on the ice, on skates for the Cup celebration. Just really tough guy, apparently, because if you were going to try to play game 6 and 7 after a week after broken fibula surgery, kudos to you, man. So my shout out goes to Alex Killorn.
Yeah, no, after every Cup Finals, we hear the story of guys that were injured and playing through broken rib bones, broken legs, punctured lungs. That's the word I was trying to go for before. Hear about it every year.
This is the first time I've heard about somebody getting a surgery mid-series and still thinking they're going to come back.
I remember Nick Bonino breaking his ankle, but not.
He was not supposed to come back.
He did skate. He did skate and come out for the Cup celebration. I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we hear about it every year, but yeah, not every year. It is, shout out worthy every year because these guys are, maybe doing the most, but it's impressive nonetheless.
Who is your shout out to end out this show?
So you're a fan of the one and only Patrick McAfee, correct?
Yeah, I like Pat McAfee.
Have you seen his? I forget what day it was last week. Have you seen his clip on him thinking about buying the Pirates?
No, I have not.
Okay,
I don't really watch him outside of football season usually.
Okay, that's fair. So clearly, Pat McAfee, total jokester with this situation because I think Pat McAfee, as successful as he is, doesn't really have the the clout to buy a baseball team. But he had Jeff Passan on his show, who, by the way, was wearing a Slam Diego shirt, and that's awesome for a writer to be doing that. And Jeff threw out the idea of, because they were talking about the Pirates for a second, threw out how Patrick Mahomes was kind of in on Kansas City being bought, the Royals. Jeff Passan goes, I know another guy named Patrick who could buy a baseball team with the right situation. And next thing you know, Pat McAfee and his whole crew were discussing all of the fun they could have of owning the Pirates. The pierogi races are there to stay. I think they said Barry Bonds bobblehead night, but it is the biggest head on a bobblehead you've ever seen. Things to get people back into the ballpark and to make the team good again. I think they said they'd bring back Jason Kendall, Adam LaRoche, or Sean Casey, I think it was. You have to watch the video if you haven't seen it. It's really fun. And they just had fun with it. It was, bringing in a new mascot of sort. I forget what it was exactly.
Oh, they don't like the Pirate Parrot?
Pat McAfee doesn't know much about baseball. I think he knew sauerkraut salt and that was about it. But I just thought it was such an entertaining video. Again, like I said, not real, but the fact that, more people are completely on board, Pat McAfee and Jeff Passan maybe on board with someone else owning the Pirates.
Everybody but Bob Nutting is on board with that.
Yeah, make it happen. And Pat McAfee and his crew did end up saying we would come in, buy the team, win a World Series, and sell it to Mark Cuban. So
yeah.
So they know their process, and it did start as a joke, but it lasted into a pretty long section of their episode. And I just thought it was entertaining. And like I said, it's fun seeing more people get on the train of someone else owning this damn team.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's not been a great season for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jason Kendall was also kind of linked to them back when the whole new manager position was going out, and instead Derek Shelton got the job, but Jason Kendall was linked in some of those conversations, I believe.
Jason Kendall would have been so much fun, whether he was good or bad. Just having someone from, I'm sure if we took time, we could run down the old Pirates from our childhood, like the Jason Kendall, Brian Giles years,
Niger Morgan, Lastings Millage, some of these great names.
Kip Wells.
Kip Wells. Paul Maholm, I always thought was going to be a Cy Young winner.
That's fair. Remember
him and Zach Duke.
Zach Duke, who was an all-star. I just read a story in The Fan about that. But remember when Oliver Perez was on the team, and then he's also still in the league?
Yeah, he's floating around somewhere as like
icon.
a two-pitch reliever.
Yeah, but like the Jack Wilson era, Freddie Sanchez,
Jason Bay,
Craig Wilson, if you want to take it really far back.
Mm-hmm.
Just those teams they weren't good, but they were our childhood teams.
Yeah. We always thought that they were going to break out at some point, and they obviously never did.
I think if the Pirates wouldn't have made as many trades as they did, I mean, you got to remember, we had a Ramos Ramirez. He turned out to be really good. Jason Bay was okay. If you would have kept a bunch of those a good amount of those players together, that's a playoff team at least. I think.
Possibly.
Got to get that pitching rotation down. That rotation always sucked. That was the issue.
Yeah, and then they drafted a lot of good pitchers, and then they traded them all away. Garrett Cole, Tyler Glasnow.
They just drafted the pitchers 8 years too late.
Yeah, exactly. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Tip of the Ice-Burgh. We hope everybody enjoyed this episode of The Tip of the Ice-Burgh, and basically both episodes this week. I think both episodes were pretty good. So next week, obviously, the expansion draft. We'll have a lot of coverage on that. But for right now, we say goodbye, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend, Pens fans.